love's light that calls us to the presence we know. We come to the call of the one that is living within us. We see the truth. We burn with the fire of the Spirit. That's who we are. May those who are yearning find their hearts rest. May those who are seeking come here and find. May you come. May you come to learn, to learn, to shine. The gifts that we bring, the gifts that we bring, and our wounds and our fears, and our wounds and our fears are bathed in the light, are bathed in the light, washed by the tears, washed by the tears. We come to remember. Yes, we come here to grow, so that we may give to the ones who don't know. We come to the call of the one that is living within us. We see the truth. We burn with the fire of the Spirit, and that's who we are. May those who are yearning find their hearts rest. May those who are seeking come here and find. May you come. May you come to learn, to learn, to shine. The love in these walls, the light in this space, the love in these walls, the light in this space. May you come to learn, to shine. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Andrew. Whew. May you come to learn. May you come to grow. May you come to shine. I love this community. That's what we're all about. That's what you are all about. To make a commitment that you want to stay on the path. You want to stay on the path to absolutely know the magnificence, the God within, whatever you choose to call it, that which is so ineffable, that which is so in awe, that which is just so filled with good and with love and with peace, no matter what the appearance
and on the human level, that there is something that goes beyond our knowing. And yet we're on the path to know it as best we can. And to shine our love and to shine our light everywhere we go. Because wherever that light comes into a place, there is no darkness. And we're like flashlights everywhere we go, shining a light. And so that's why we have this community, to be together, to be with one another, to have a place, like I said last week, a sanctuary, a place of refuge where we can come and to hold each other and to say, haven't seen you in a while. Are you still on the path? Doesn't mean whether someone physically has to come here or not, but are you still on the path? Are you still absolutely on the path to know absolutely how magnificent each and every one of you are? And so we're taking this month to talk about, again, our purpose, which is to be radically inclusive and spiritually progressive and transforming lives, to talk about our mission. So we have 6 points in our mission statement. We've gone over 4 so far, so I'll go over the last 2 today. And to talk about the 4 priorities at the Core Council, which is our leadership board, like a board of trustees, but we're in shared leadership. We do things a little different here, which, some people have to fall into, or they fall out of. But, the Core Council set 4 priorities for next year, and so we're sharing what those priorities are, and I'll share the 4th one with you today. And I want to begin with an Ernest Holmes quote. I gave a testimonial last Sunday, and I used one of his quotes to wrap up how Science of Mind has changed my life over this past 9 years. And this one, I think, is really calling us to an even higher place. And he begins by saying, unless we become the living embodiment of love and light, we shall have no justification in saying that God is love and light. So he's calling us to be it, and to not just say it and attempt to justify it. We are the living embodiment in justifying that God is love and light. Unless we use the freedom we have without abusing it, he says, we shall have no justification in saying that we are the master of our own soul, the creator of our own destiny, and the arbiter of our own fate. He tells us, but if we can bind ourselves together reverently in love and compassion, in mutual tolerance and understanding, under the cohesive powers of the universal law of good and the beneficence of a divine and universal presence, then shall we be able to use the liberty without license to diffuse unity without uniformity, and to lead the world down the pathway of a new enlightenment. Wow, not just being with that for a year. Can you imagine what it would be like if we bound ourselves together reverently, which means a feeling or attitude of deep respect tinged with awe. Imagine what it would be like if, when we saw another person, saw the other, saw the they, saw the them, and there was so much respect and awe, no matter how they were showing up, their values, their beliefs, but bound ourselves together reverently, what this world could be like. So that's what we teach and practice here: love and compassion, mutual tolerance and understanding. And we also let go of the need for uniformity. So if we are to know once and for all that we're the creator of our own destiny and that there's a power for good in the universe, like Dawn shared with us on her testimonial, and you can use it, and to truly know that not only is there a power in this universe that you can use, but that it can use you, then we're really on the path to something. We really are lighting and assisting in humanity in this new awakening ourselves to our own spiritual magnificence. So we're the light bearers. We're not the only light bearers. It's not the only way, but this is a path. And the great news is here at CSLDallas, we offer many opportunities. We offer many paths and ways in which you can, come onto the path and go, hey, I like that view, this, that, and the other, and it's not just here on Sunday morning. So we are having, again, 4 priorities for 2017, and I want to tell you about the 4th one because it has everything to do with you, each and every one of you. So our priority, we had this as a priority this year, and the great news and the paradox is that the expansion of our physical space, the 9,000 additional square feet behind this wall, has taken a lot of our time and attention. And so we've moved this priority into 2017 because it's all about you. And that priority is we want to ensure that we are nurturing the CSLDallas experience for you. We want to make sure that this community provides extraordinary community every step of the way. So that means from the time you step into here and decide you're going to take foundations, which is the first class, pretty much that everyone is required to take, and then you sort of free to roam about the cabin. But from from foundations to what I call spiritual leadership. I just happened to notice yesterday that one of our practitioners, Tracy Brown, posted how, she did a workshop here yesterday called Safe Conversations, and then she got on a plane last night and she flew to the largest community in our denominations in Denver, Mile High Church, and she's working with them today. She's in that community. We've tithed her over there today, and I said, way to be a spiritual leader. So we all can be spiritual leaders. We all can be ministers. I happen to have a license, that's all. And so we help assist you from foundations into spiritual leadership so you can be a spiritual leader in your own life, in your family, in the world. Also, we want to assist from the little babies, hadn't even crawled, all the way up, to the preteens, the mid-teens, the teens, and especially the young adults, where when you're in your 20s, do y'all remember when you're in your 20s? Well, it seems to be we got some in their 20s. They're sitting in here right now. And it seems to be like, how do I maneuver and manage? And how do I sail my boat on this ocean when there's so much going on? We also want to make sure that from the time you first stepped in, first impressions, I know 2 gentlemen are here for the first time. So that first impression of when we each step in here for the first time, all the way to many of you who have been here for 10, some 20, some 30 years. How do you continue to get fed? How do we nurture you? So this is a priority. And we're committed to find new ways to engage with you. And not just Dr. Peter and myself, Reverend Patty and Reverend Vince, but how do we engage? So we're looking at increasing next year. This is all starting next year, but we're looking at ways in which we can engage at a deeper level with you in smaller groups, bringing out the new offerings that we discussed last week so that you feel engaged and that we nurture you on every step of your journey. And sometimes there's an expectation, there's this new expectation that one didn't have to consider 10 years ago. There's a new expectation if you post something on Facebook, 1, I see it, and 2, I do something about it. Well, it actually helps to reach in and say, I've got this going on in my life, or to ensure that someone else tells us got something going on in your life, good to celebrate or something that's happened. But we're here to nurture you. And it's just not Dr. Peter and myself and Reverend Patty and Reverend Vince. We have 14 practitioners to nurture you. And so we truly have this as a priority. I've been very blessed recently that people have actually let us know immediately when things are going down in people's lives, and we are responding. Someone responds. Our pastoral care has gotten stronger. And you know, there are people in this community that are moving through some severe and intense grief, from, you know, a family member being murdered to, you know, having to take a loved one out of a nursing home because they saw the soul starting to leave the body and got to get them home, and it takes extra care. And so, you know, all the way to affirming the perfect compensation and job scenario, and to celebrate that as that happens. So we're here to nurture you. And don't assume we know it. So just let us know. And we will be there for you. But it takes each and every one of us in this community. It can't take 4 ministers to minister to this entire community. We all minister to one another. And that's what's so grand and glorious about this community. And the connections, as Marcia talked about, going to classes. So we have 2 mission statements that I want to share with you. And the first one that I'm covering today is that to be a lovingly supportive community that celebrates diversity. And we celebrate diversity here, therefore, the diversity is increasing in this community in all the grand and glorious ways. We don't need to all think alike. We certainly don't all look alike. We don't have to act alike, but the world is sort of learning that if we're going to get along and we're going to survive a few more generations, we must act like a union. We must act like a union and allow people to sort of be themselves. And Ernest Holmes says this over and over again. Unity, community, to be in unity with one another does not mean conformity. So we're not asking anyone to conform to anything. It also does not mean uniformity. So we don't have to be the same, and we can actually celebrate each other, and we can celebrate that there's every political stance in this community that one can imagine. We can celebrate that we all come from different backgrounds and different traditions and different faiths, maybe none at all. We can celebrate that. We can celebrate that we have each had different experiences, which means we also are looking at things through different lenses and our different perspectives. So we can celebrate this diversity. And so we as a community are being supportive in that and celebrate the fact that we each have within us this individualized expression. Not many people stand up there and dance like me, you know, on a Sunday. Willie was telling me something between services, and I'm not going to share, but she made me laugh about me standing up there and dancing on a Sunday. But it's an individualized expression as me. And the more you've given me the space, you've given me the space to be able to do that. You've led the way for me, so that I can be okay with who I am and how I show up and how I express. You've given me that space. So the more space that I've been given, the more the divine just flows out of me. And then I just go, wow, where did that come from? Who said that? Oh my gosh. And, you know, I don't play small as much anymore. You've given me that space. And I'm just getting started, so I tell you. So another, and I would say that this is really an anchor for us as a mission, is to demonstrate active compassion to ourselves first and foremost, to be compassionate with ourselves, to one another, and to the world. And so compassion and caring, Ernest Holmes tells us, are the ties that bind us. Here he is trying to bind us up again. That bind us together in mutual understanding and in a unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. Compassion and caring. So the definition of compassion is the ability to understand the emotional state of another person or oneself, and a desire to alleviate or reduce the suffering of another. And so I actually believe it's more than wanting to understand or help someone. It's to actually understand that there may be a totally different perspective that we can take up when it comes to perceiving others. Let me give you an example of this. One way to do this is, instead of assuming that the reason someone has done something that hurts you is because, they're not just selfish or they're inconsiderate, but assume that perhaps they had a good reason for it. How many of us have been ourselves in the world with someone that we know and we love, and there's a reason for how we're showing up as a parent or a spouse or whatever, right? And by doing so, someone says, oh my God, that really, hurt me. That bothered me, et cetera, et cetera. And yet, there was no intention on that at all from us, right? When we tell our children, you must be home by 10 p.m. and kids don't understand or whatever, there's a reason behind it, right? I don't think there are many people, if we look at the whole scope of things, that actually intentionally set out to hurt someone. I doubt there's anyone in this room that does that. And so if we take on a different perspective, for example, let's say a mother with a small girl is, she thinks, she's concerned that her daughter has a pretty intense disease. And so she takes her daughter to the doctor's office. They see the doctor. They run all these tests. There's some grumblings and whispering behind the scenes, but they haven't given her the test results yet. Her fear, her trepidation, her anxiety is building throughout the day. They still don't know. There's no clean message, whatever. She's now having to leave with her daughter. She's got all of this on her heart and on her mind, and she just happens to walk out of the doctor's office. She runs into someone she knows, and someone's like, hey, Sally, how you doing? And the woman just keeps walking on. Hey, and just keeps walking. And then Sally just says, well, my goodness, she just brushed me off. She didn't want anything to do with me, et cetera, et cetera. What did I do to her? And yet there's a whole different perspective in what is going on in that woman's life in that moment. That's compassion, to understand that perhaps there's something else going on. And so what it does is it calls us to make a radical shift and actually assume the best in others instead of the worst. And sometimes we tend to think of the worst, don't we? You don't have to agree on that. But to assume the best in others, to assume that everyone's doing the absolute best they can. And so we're called as a community to have compassion for ourselves, everyone in here, and for the world. And that's a great thing to add to our mission statement. But in order to have this place, as we call it a lot of times, it's a spiritual laboratory where we can just bump up against one another. We can bring all of our stuff. We can, love each other. We can support each other, all that. But it's a spiritual, we try things out. We practice, spiritual practice. And in order to really deepen and grow, we actually have to stay on the field. Can't walk off the field. And sometimes things happen and people just go, I'm going to go find another place. And you know what? That's happened with a few people this year because for whatever reason, and they've come back. They've come back and are they committed and really seriously deepened in what they're getting from this community and how they are showing up and volunteering. And then some other people have left and they haven't come back yet, but we're always here. We're always here to love and support one another, just like family. Don't they sort of run off sometimes and then they come back? So we've got to be committed to this. I want to tell you that I knew this coach that coaches small boys, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. I guess they're about this high nowadays. And every year, it didn't matter what player came on that team. It was like, a league. It was all random. Didn't matter what kid got on that team, they always won the league. They always won year after year after year. So finally I asked him, I said, okay, how do you do this? We're not talking pro teams, folks, where, you recruit. It's just by random. Like, how do you do this? He said, well, this is what I do. Before the first practice, before I even give them their jersey, they come together, and this is what I tell them they have to do. They stand in front of each other and they say, I promise you, I will never quit on you. And their team member says, I promise you I won't let you quit. And so that creates this community right there on the team. And there's this love and there's this support. And so when I think about this and I think about this community, I think about my role. And I think about my role, and I promise you I will not quit on you. And I will go out 100%. Full out. And I've done that since I arrived. But when I say I will not quit on you, that means that I am on this path. I'm going to stay on this path. I'm going to keep working to understand that which I am and that which wants to come through, and how magnificent that which is God wants to come through me. That I will continue to understand our spiritual principles and our teachings, because we're all on the path, right? And I'll continually wake up to the truth of who I am. And I won't quit on me, and I won't quit on you when it comes out. I came here to be loved, so I'm going to stay on that path. I'm going to stay on that path no matter what happens. And I know that for Dr. Petra, for some of you who've been here a while, she's been on that path, and she's like, I won't quit on you for over 22 years, right? So it's like, I won't quit on you. I'm here.
I won't let you quit.
Thank you, Steve. It's not only for my own good to stay on this path, it's for the good of this community and the entire planet. So I'm committed. I'm committed to play this role. And that's why I actually love that you all pay me to be on the path and do spiritual practice and to deepen deeper and deeper in these teachings. Every class I teach, every talk I give, I have to do the readings too, I have to do the spiritual practice too. Every single day. I asked this in first service. I'll be curious to see what happens in this service. I've said this before this month. I'm not sure there are a lot of opportunities right now for community beyond our immediate family, beyond our household. I asked this question, and no one raised their hand. How many people live in a neighborhood right now where they still block off the streets and they have barbecues and you play with each other's kids and you know your neighbors and you know who they are? A few. Good. So less than 10 though. Right? Things have changed. I believe that there are less opportunities for community. This is an opportunity that we each can take full advantage of. To be in community. And what does that mean? And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you individually? So I'm going to invite you to do something. If you're willing and able to stand up, I'm going to ask you to stand up and come into all the aisles and form a chain. Just as quickly as you can. You don't need anything. And just come into the aisles and form like a line, okay? So we're getting in lines and around the back. And so it's like this nice ziggy, zaggy. Great? So that we're one to one, boom, boom. Okay, stay in the center aisle or not. It's okay. Linda, stay in the center aisle. Make a line back there. We got lines back there, lines back here, and we're over here. Great. Iva, can you fill in the gap over here too? And just set what you got in your hands down. Willie, will you participate with me too? Okay, now, this is not complicated. Just listen to me. I'm affirming it's not complicated. You are going to pair up with one person. It's okay. Just turn to someone, and when we need to fill in the gap, we will. Get a pair. Go. And look at them. And if you don't have a pair, raise your hand and find another pair quickly. RJ, go over there. So everybody has a pair. We need one more. Okay, there it is right there. Find your pair. Right here. Reverend Patty, let these two find their pair. Let them find them. Come over. Find her quickly. There we go. Get behind, go over with Reverend Patty. Well, no, Reverend Patty, let them two be their pair. Right there. Thank you. All right, everybody got a pair. Okay, now, this is very quick. Choose an A now. In your pair, choose an A now. Great. The other person's a B. Okay? So follow me. I want us to take a deep breath. I want you to feel this. You may be talking to one person in front of you, but you are talking to this entire community. You're talking to everyone who has ever stepped into this community before now. You are talking to everyone that has yet to step into this community from this point. That's who you're talking to. And so we're going to take it one at a time. A's, you begin. A's, with all your feeling and all that you are, and however you choose to, I'd love for you to tell your partner and everyone else, I promise I will never quit on you. And then B's, you, in the same tone, will say, I will never let you quit. A's, please start.
I will never quit.
I promise I will never quit.
B's, okay, we'll hug afterwards. B's, now you start. You start.
I won't let you quit. I will never let you quit.
Now you can hug. Okay. Great. Don't sit down. Don't sit down, please. Stay with me. Okay. Wonderful. This is who we are. If you actually don't believe in this moment that this is who we are, I'm inviting you to believe and to know this is who we are. Okay? We are here to support and love one another. We are here to nurture one another. We are not here to proselytize some teaching. We are here to love, support, and nurture one another. We are a lifeline for one another. You've got to give us a chance, and I mean all of us. Two people could never do this themselves. That's setting us up for failure. But this is the community that we are, and that we are going to stay on the path no matter where we go. There are people that have, moved, and they still watch the talks and are connected to this community. So we're striking a new point in this. Doesn't matter what we've done up till now. Just like when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It wasn't the consciousness, the consciousness that created that is not the consciousness that I was in that moment. And the consciousness that created this community is not the consciousness that's in this moment. This is the consciousness of our community, including everyone on the File Foliage Tour, everyone that's not here. This is us, and everyone that's still yet to be. Yes. And so we're not going to let each other quit. We're going to reach out. Where you been? I haven't seen you in 2 Sundays. Everything great. Everything's all right? Great. Just want you to know I love you. I miss you. You know, let me know if I need to call somebody and say that. I promise you I will. Now, we are here to grow this place because there are people that want to have community that allow them to be themselves with no judgment, to welcome each and every person that's a spiritual seeker, that's wandering and wavering and wobbling. And so we're going to grow this place of love and understanding. So I invite us to just be with the words. Erica's, my one dear singer, Erica Luckett, okay? Erica is doing her first solo. We're all growing. She's growing right now. Don't be nervous. She nailed it first service. So we're just going to listen. We're going to stand here and listen. And the greeters are going to pass out a pledge card. It's okay. Don't wig out. So the greeters just quietly hand everybody something while the song begins, and feel and have a mental equivalent for how you want to be served in this community, how you want to be nurtured, how you want to be supported, and how you want to serve and nurture someone else in this community. Andrew, Erica.
With these hands and with these hearts and with this vision, let us start with these tools and on this ground. We pray God's will for us abounds. Let us grow a place of love and understanding. Let us grow a place of peace. Let us build a foundation large enough to embrace all in kind. Let us grow a place of heart and mind. In this moment and in this space, in this presence and in this place, we ask for nothing but for God's will to flow through us and be fulfilled. While the walls of fear that may have held us yesterday dissolves to dust upon the ground, it simply fades away, and the power and strength and the relief that flows within moves us forward now as we begin to grow a place of love and understanding as we grow a place of peace as we build a foundation large enough to embrace all mankind. Let us grow a place of heart and mind. Let us grow a place of heart and
moments, many moments in the life of a community. I feel this is one of these moments. And so you have a pledge card. It takes everything for this community to be the community that it is. It takes our time, it takes our talents, it takes our wanting to be spiritually fed, it takes our classes, it takes all of that. And what I know for you in this moment, that there is a new opening and a new awakening for each of us, that we know that this is God in action. Money is God in action. And we're going to be in action right now for each of us and for those that have yet to come. So as you want to move to a seat or your seat, I'm going to invite you to fill out that pledge card. If you already have, which many of you already have, I see if there's something within you, see if there's something within you that wants to give more. And like Bill said, set the tone for your financial freedom next year. Because together, we build this place of love and understanding. Together, we build a place where we can each come. And then as you're ready, come up and put it in this bowl. And we'll bless each and every one of them. This is the last Sunday, I trust. We're going to ask for pledge cards so we can celebrate going through the goal next Sunday.
Let us build a foundation large enough to embrace all in kind. Let us grow a place of heart and mind. Let us grow a place of heart and mind. About 30 more seconds just so we move on. There'll be a table where you can put it outside the pledge cards. All right, we're going to bless them. We're going to bless this. More importantly, we're going to bless you. So I invite us to go within. And it's in this moment that I take a stand for the absolute awareness and the recognition that God is abundant. If you just look, you have to not be paying attention to not be in awe. Just everywhere you look, this life is abundant. And as I know that this life is abundant, I know that our lives are abundant. I know that we open and let go of any limiting thoughts or beliefs or any baggage from our childhood or any prior religion or anything, that this is an absolute moment where we know that we came here to live life abundantly, and we live it.
And that's in all forms of abundance and prosperity, financial abundance, an abundance of friends, an abundance of community, an abundance of support, an abundance of awakenings and awarenesses, an abundance of being able to have fun and enjoy our lives, an abundance of opportunities, whatever it is. We came here to live it abundantly. And this is what we do, for this is who we are. So I bless these gifts. I bless the givers. I bless anyone that has offered up a pledge. I bless anyone that's given any time and service to this community. I bless anyone that is here. Just by being here, you're a blessing. I absolutely know that it's returned to you 1,000 folds. We call it good. We let it be, and so it is.